Hey, there's so much going on globally right now, which is terrifying and overwhelming. Um, that in particular are challenging the worldview of those of us who are really showing up, those of us who have empathy, those of us who care about our communities. And we do things like we check on our neighbours, we volunteer, we are usually the ones who are part of the frontline caring professions. We're not normally the ones who are particularly from wealthy backgrounds, but we're often from multicultural communities who take care of each other. And we tend to be women. In all of those areas, we tend to be women. And so, right now, with this kind of convergence of all of these overwhelming, frightening issues, I mean, which I talk about generally in terms of the activism work that I do, but right now, all the stuff that's kind of going on around Jeffrey Epstein and the connections to Trump and the implications of that, and how society even responds to that, alongside the ongoing narrative, which we keep seeing repeated over and over again, of male abusers being able to act with impunity and to carry on with their offending without facing any consequences. And, the recent verdict in the P. Diddy trial, where he was cleared of the more extreme offences, it is it's discouraging. It's really hard. And, there are those of us who are kind of working officially, if you like. We're working in the field of activism. I've worked as an advocate in the non-profit sector for a long time. But I know that through the coaching work that I do and more broadly, that so many women who are not necessarily even working in those professions, but are just engaging with this kind of content and are feeling angry about it, feeling powerless, feeling frustrated, are going to be having to navigate all of this, because so often, it's the people with the most empathy, the ones who care. We're feeling it the most because that's what motivates us. And, I feel really strongly about this because this is really the reason why I changed up my career, was because this is personal for me. This is what I went through. I was somebody who really cared deeply, was passionate about all of these issues, all of the stuff that I talk about in on YouTube and on Instagram, all of these social injustices, inequalities, violence against women and girls. I feel so strongly about it. But there's you have to also look at that on balance with checking in with reality, which is something that I've talked about a lot, because the danger is that, especially in the non-profit sector where I worked, there's an expectation that you almost do it out of a sense of compassion, of responsibility, of wanting to make the world a better place, but without the resources, the support, without even, a salary that would reflect that. And you can't go on like that. And if that is the way that you are being treated, if that's the message that you get from wider society or the profession that you work in, and you accept that, you internalize it, and you have to hold it. But you can't control whether you resent that or not. You can outwardly say, okay, I'm going to carry the load. I'm going to keep doing this and keep working forward because I believe in this and I care and I know that I've got the skills to do it. But I'm not getting the support. I'm not getting really any recognition. I don't have any kind of career progression opportunities. I've had to deal with the real financial penalty of motherhood. You can't ignore all of these things forever, and eventually it will hurt you. And that's what happened to me. It was like, okay, this is what I decided to do with my life. I accept it, It's not perfect, but I'm just going to carry on. And I thought I could compartmentalize that and just say, I just accept it because this is the career path I've chosen. But eventually, there's nothing you can do about that. If it's death by a thousand cuts and it's just, well, that's fine, but we don't care what you think. That's fine, but you don't really fit here. That's fine, but we're not going to include you in this meeting. It will just hurt you. So, really, the main message that I want to get across from this work is that if you can relate to any of that, any of what I'm saying, if you feel any sort of rage or injustice when you see all of the stuff around Epstein and how people are getting away with it and how men don't face consequences and how a talented woman like Nadia can be dropped, used as a pawn and then dropped without explanation, whilst Danny Dyer is back on Sky One with some horrible show. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, really? I know it's Sky and the BBC, but it's the same premise, isn't it? I mean, have the BBC sacked Greg Wallace? I don't know. I don't think so. I know that lots of women have come forward to say that he's not a particularly nice guy, but he's been working there for years. And then Nadia should be grateful that she worked there for 10 years. Anyway, that's kind of slightly going off on a tangent. But the point is that, the world doesn't care. The world doesn't care. These are the values that we're working against. These are institutions that we have to deal with. And it's not just the BBC that uses people for their background or being able to show that they're diverse. It's an institutional problem. And it's still an institutional problem in the non-profit sector, which is an example of a sector where you think, oh, I would have thought they'd be, quite progressive in their policies and their approach. No, they're not. Women make up the majority of the non-profit sector, but we hardly get any of the top jobs. 1 in 6 CEOs in the non-profit sector have been educated at private school. Only 7% are not white. Okay, and this is what we're working with. So you've got to wake up to it. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to just keep going and doing the same thing over and over again. I'm saying this from a perspective of, I have been through it. This is the choice that I've made. This is the direction that I'm going in. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's easy for you, or, you can do that if you want to. I can't. It was absolutely not easy for me. I literally broke and decided that this was not the path that I wanted to be on anymore. It requires courage, but there comes a point where you feel that it's actually going to be worse for me to carry on down this road without really questioning it than it would be to stop this and start from scratch, do something completely different somewhere else. What I would say, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now and you kind of feel like it's a difficult time to process all of the things that are coming at you, you're going to be somebody who cares. You're going to be somebody who shows up. And if you are somebody who cares, now more than ever, the world needs you to just basically stay alive. We just need you to be alive and to be able to be well enough to keep going. Okay? Bottom line, you need you to do more than that. You need you to be healthy, have well-being, put your needs first. That would be lovely for the rest of us if you do that. That would be even better. But that's your responsibility. We can't force you to do it. Nobody can force you to take care of yourself. Only you can do that. So you need to do 3 things. You need to get clarity on what you want. You need to connect with your values so that you can decide on what direction you want to go in. And then you have to stay on track. You need to persevere and keep going. If you do those 3 things, that will take you in the right direction and keep you going. And that's the bottom line of what you need to do. It's not really more complicated than that. If you want my help, there are all sorts of tools and resources that I can give you. There's loads of free stuff on my website. And if you want me to work with you, I can offer you coaching. So just have a look at it, because, you know, now more than ever, the world needs you. And it's your responsibility to make those decisions and to take care of yourself. If you're interested to learn more, then please follow, hit like, and share.